Welcome to the next episode of Discipline, Desire, and Dedication. My name is Dakota Lang, along co-host Garrett Cotten. Here today, we're in Utah. It kind of worked out perfect. We have a market owner meeting, flying all the market owners in for performance windows, as well as the same weekend that we had the podcast scheduled. So it works out pretty good. We've got a couple of people going to come on the podcast, except poor Lizzie.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Lizzie Mascaro.
Oh, boy. But this episode is sponsored by Lizzie Mascaro's Brunch Date with Caitlin Cotten. So.
Yep. We were supposed to have a couple good guests today. We were going to have Lizzie and Josh Dunmoody, and Evan Guidry's going to come on in Lizzie's place because Lizzie, she likes to bail on things the day probably like an hour before she's supposed to show up.
She's way too comfortable.
Crazy. Yep.
What do they say? Losers make excuses, champions find solutions.
Yep. Well, she was here. Her makeup's not done. She wasn't ready. So maybe she can go take a nap or something like that. But she'll be.
Well, the good thing is you got some pacifiers at the house from the babies. That's right. Just be able to grab one, put it in her mouth, and go night-night.
Yeah, there we go.
Get her some good sleep. So, heck yeah, man. Well, I know we got some cool guests. I think Gup's going to come on. Josh Dunmoody, super excited to hear their stories. Mm-hmm. I know we already had Gup on previously, so it's going to be cool just to see, kind of hear his transition because we brought him on before he went to Nashville, correct?
Yeah, he was. I think he got his golden door. So that's
he got his golden door. That's right. He got his golden door. So now we'll be able to hear all the trials and errors and maybe some successes that he's had since he's went down to Nashville, some learning experiences. Mm-hmm. But just to start off on this podcast, let's kind of just dive into. I scrolled through TikTok or whatever, and I was just listening to some other podcasts. And, it was more just like some generic questions that I wanted to try to see about if we could just ask questions and just let the conversation go from there. So let's just start off with this. In your perspective, what do you feel is a productive day at work?
In what position, though?
Your position, just in your perspective of it.
A productive day?
What is a productive day in your opinion?
Well, regional now, it's one thing I love is the balance that regional life it gives me. Mm-hmm. So for me, my day-to-day, I'd say that I travel on average 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. And when I'm in those offices, I'm there for about 3 to 4 days on average. So when I'm in those offices, a productive day when I'm in an office is, it's balls to the wall from as soon as I wake up till I go to sleep. I wake up hella early, go get breakfast, sometimes by myself or sometimes I'll do a closer breakfast. And then I like to be the first one to the meeting, to the office, whatever office I'm at, so that whenever the market owner pulls up, they see me standing by the door. Yep. It's like, hey, you late, motherfucker, that kind of stuff. But I like to start the day off right, get there early, get my breakfast beforehand. I'll get into the meeting, get a productive closer meeting ran, do some digging to see what I can figure out about all the people prior. Run the knocker meeting, and then I enjoy staying after the knocking meeting to get that time to talk to all the new people in the office or people that I hadn't seen in a while. So I usually hold them back just a little bit, couple personal conversations. Mm-hmm. And then after everybody's done with the knocker meeting, me and the market owner usually get a little bit of back end stuff done, just maybe interviews or maybe we'll kind of go through payments or stuff, something like that, just to get some money collected. And then it's awesome because I can go and I can leave around lunchtime. I can go get me a good lunch. Sometimes I'll bring the market owner if it works out that way. But if they're doing interviews or something, I'll go get lunch myself. Then I can go to the hotel. I can get a full workout in. Yeah. And then I work out middle of the day. And then a lot of the times I'll take a shower after my workout, get dressed back up to go out and knock with the knockers in an evening session.
That's prime time.
Because the best part about being regional is I can have all that production before going out, and I can only go knock for 2 or 3 hours at the very end of the day. And so that's the prime time, right? So I'm looking great. Every combo that I get, it's almost getting down to time setting because it's the best time to be out there.
Everybody's getting home.
Yeah, 100%.
What would you say though? It's good for a perspective, regional perspective. But let's just say in a general statement, as far as a productive day, what is the definition of that? And just for anybody, not somebody performance windows related, just in general, right? Because in my opinion, I feel like a productive day is just accomplishing the goals that are in front of you. I feel like, and that goes for anybody that is in any type of business, industry, anything like that, right? If you just accomplish what you set your mind to the night before you go to sleep, if you tell yourself you're going to do something, go accomplish that goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it takes planning prior, because if you don't know what your day has in store, but like everything that I just talked about, I plan all that out the day before. Because like I go into an office expecting how my day is going to be because it's pre-planned, but a lot of people, if they're not in the habits of, planning out their next day. I mean, even as coming into a knocker, the only plans you have for the next day being a knocker is I'm going to go out there and set appointments. And sometimes you don't even manifest like a number. You're just like, I just need to go set appointments. But for me, when we were there, we were like 4 appointments every single day.
Let me talk about this because I actually today's Saturday, July something. I don't know exactly what day it is, but 2 days ago I was running my meeting and we were doing goal accountability. And whenever I was doing goal accountability, had knockers come in. I'm like, why'd you set one appointment, right? And they're like, this, that, or, well, this person was unable because the spouse was out of town. I'm like, well, that was never an appointment set regardless, right? That's part of the numbers.
Yeah. They're using the people that get the time setting as the excuse of why they didn't set those.
Right, yeah, that's not going to happen. But in my opinion, the point that I'm trying to make is that it was a big learning moment for my office because, like I explained to them, you can't come in the next day with no plan because you're going to replicate the exact same thing you did yesterday and you're going to have the same result. Yep. If you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. So if what you're doing is not working, something needs to change.
Yep.
I
used to always say too, just on that topic of planning the day. For me, coming into this industry, I knew nothing about door-to-door sales, so I would change up my habits every day of like the routine of maybe waking up, eating breakfast, eating different breakfasts, going from coffee to an energy drink, just changing up all the small things that are going to contribute to the day. And whenever I would go out and have a successful day, the day after that, I would plan my next day to replicate everything that I did today to have success. So for like if I went out there today and I had a sale, I'm gonna say, what time did I get out of bed? I got out of bed at 5 o'clock. I need to get out of bed tomorrow at 5 o'clock. What did I eat for breakfast? I'm gonna eat that same breakfast.
All right, I want to bounce off of that. So let's say it in a perspective, because I know we both have been through it before, right? Whenever you find something that works, you want to replicate it over and over and over again. Why do you feel like, I guess you could say, just newer reps or somebody who is maybe just still figuring it out, but they have success one day and they're like, okay, I did this, 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 and this, and then they try to go replicate it the next day, say they stuck to their routine and they don't see results. What is your opinion on that so that people can push past that?
Yeah, I relate sales to sports always, so I think about it like a golf swing. I'm sure anybody's ever played golf before, they've gone out there and they've had a good day playing golf. Right? And then you're like, well, man, what did I do? Like, why was yesterday such a good day? Your swing didn't change. Where you hold the grip didn't change. It's just something was a little bit different. Maybe it was the intention that was behind every swing. Maybe it was like the mindset that went into the day. So whenever you go out there and you have success by accomplishing all your goals or whatever you did the day before, you may try and replicate it the next day and not see those results, but it's the consistency of replicating that type of stuff every day that the results are going to end up happening. So just like golf, the more you play golf, the better that you're going to get at it. Sales, if you find something that works for you and you replicate that over and over again, the consistency, that's the big thing. Consistency. When you can consistently do something day in and day out, results will follow.
Yeah.
And you're not
it
going
might
to
not
see
pay you
those.
today. It might not pay you today. It might not pay you tomorrow. But hard work will always pay
We
off.
haven't said that in a long time. I used to always say, even when I was a knocker, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next week or next month or next year, but hard work will always pay off.
Let me tell you the analogy that I say. I say often, not as much as we used to. But now you say if if you got a kid that gets off the bus every day, and he goes down this walkway, and every day he gets the living shit beat out of him by the bullies. You know what I mean? You think that son of a bitch is gonna go down that same way, or is he gonna go a different way?
Nope.
I tell my knockers that. If you go out there and if you were bageling 2, 3, 4 days in a row, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Do it different.
And it comes back
Change your pitch.
Yeah, it comes
something.
to that choose your hard, because it's hard to go out there and bagel every day of the week. It's also hard to go out there and act like somebody who you are not on the doors.
Yeah.
But if I used to always say, if you tell me that I got to be, somebody who I'm not, I'm just going to tone it down a little bit. But if I got to go out there and just be, extremely extrovert, like smile ear to ear where my cheeks are hurting at the end of the day. If that's what it takes to get paid in this industry, then that's what I got to do.
Yep.
But fake it till you make it, and trust the process.
Yeah, let's dial into that, right? Because I feel like a lot of knockers, especially, they go through the phase where they get to a point where they're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I feel like I'm doing the same exact thing. Well, the first step to success is accepting failure when you failed. You know what I mean? If you can't look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I lost, I have to get better. I always go back to whenever I qualified. I started in March of 23, and then I qualified in May, and then the month of June, I had one sale.
I remember.
Right? And it took me to accept my failure. You know what I mean? I had to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, I didn't do everything that I could. I made excuses. I want to blame it on everybody else. I want to blame it on whoever. Anybody. It's always easy to blame it on somebody else. But you will never grow past that until you are able to take your own, accept your own failure and push past it.
Ownership. It's taking ownership over your life. Because I always say, you can say, what does today have for me, or what am I going to do to today? I'm going to take advantage of the day. And even relating it to what we do in Performance Windows, it's like, for me, when I go to a new market, I'm prepared to be the first person in that meeting the day before. Like, before I go to sleep, I'm prepared for it, But it's preparation is where you're going to see success. But you don't know, you don't learn what you need to do until you experience the failure. I always say failure is where you learn. So, but if you don't admit the failure, during that month of July,
if you keep ducking it, not looking in the mirror.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with you where your head was hanging low. We had like a week left in the month, and you were throwing the towel in right there. You're like, I'm just going to cut my losses. Is that the month you moved to?
No, I moved in May. I qualified in May, and then June. So June, it was the month I had one sale, and I took off. You
had a lot of days off that month. I feel like you were moving or something.
It was my in-laws came in.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, you had all your family up.
All my family.
I was telling you too.
Yeah.
I was Dakota.
Yeah, learning lesson. Yep. And but then I did accept it. Blah blah blah, and then obviously learned from it. What would Let's dive into this, because I feel like success, the definition of success is very broad, right? When somebody looks at another human being and goes, that person is successful, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is your definition of success, of a successful person, I should say?
When I think of success, I think of stress-free. To be honest with you, like, successful in my eyes, it may be my idea of success, but to get to one day, to be able to just wake up when I wake up, not have to answer a single phone call, but still have a business that's running, knowing that everything's running smoothly, and like, I'm only going to get stressed out if somebody calls me with a problem. I feel like whenever you get to that position, I feel like growing in this company, we get closer and closer to it, because I feel like the stress of a knocker, all the stress is on you. If you don't produce anything, you don't get anything. Same thing with a closer. Now you got the stress of yourself and the team, and then as a market owner, you got the stress of the whole office. But at regional, I feel like I actually don't have the stress of the office on me anymore. So I'm getting closer to that, getting those phone calls of when somebody's got a problem, and then I just get to solve the problems. And I think about, I think it was Jeff Bezos that was on an interview one time, or a podcast, and he was saying that at his level now, I would consider Jeff Bezos successful,
Yeah.
right? Most people would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
But on Jeff Bezos' day to day, when he first started, he worked daylight to dark. It was all this time, and he was constantly the momentum of thought process that he had. But today's age, he wakes up at like 8 o'clock and he gets his morning coffee. He has a whole morning routine where he goes and he sits outside and he gets fresh air and all this kind of stuff. And then he's got a designated time from like 10 a.m. until 12, where that's like his constructive thinking time. And it's 2 hours, pretty early in the morning. I mean, I say early in the morning, early in the day, you could say. But in those 2 hours, that's the 2 hours of most productive time, right? And then after that, he just lives his normal life. He can go play tennis, he can go do whatever. But he problem solves for 2 hours a day, and he dedicates 2 hours a day to problem solving. But the thing is like the mental capacity that comes with it, it doesn't justify, like he's not as valuable to be solving problems all day long, daylight to dark, because then he's no longer a business owner. He's an entrepreneur. He's working every single day,
right.
But he's a business owner because he built this company up. He put people in place that can run his business. Now, coming back to the Buy Back Your Time, one of the books that I read was that when somebody can do 80% of the production that you do without you being involved, that's a win.
Yeah.
Because if somebody can do 80% of what I do and I don't have to talk to them at all, then that you're buying your time back because you've invested into that person to train them to be able to do 80% of what you do. Sometimes you get lucky and they can do more than you do,
Right.
stuff like that. But that's kind of how Jeff Bezos builds his life. Is he tackles the processes himself until he knows and masters it, and he can teach others to do it. And then he teaches people to do it to where they can do up to 80% of the production that he has. And then there's only 20% of the day that's really necessary for him to pick up slack. So,
Right.
but like that idea of, in my eyes, success is, his lifestyle is a very stress-free lifestyle. It can't be that stressful to only have 2 hours a day of problem solving. Like if you think about it, our morning meeting, I love our morning meetings. Like I look for, that's why I'm the first one there when I go into offices, because I love getting there at 8 a.m. until 11 o'clock. Being there all day long, everybody's coming in, you're building momentum, you're hyping people up, you're talking about success for 2 to 3 hours in the morning session. And then after that, the day gets pretty easy. So I feel like in this role that I'm in now, I'm kind of getting closer to living that lifestyle. But in my eyes, a true success is whenever, I don't have to travel to go correct all these offices too. I can be at home with my family, just solving problems by adding value to people that are in situations that I've already been through. So but what would you say is your vision of success? Do you think it's pretty relative to what I said?
Yeah, I think it's pretty relative. Me personally, though, I think stress is a good thing in a sense, because that just means that you're growing. I feel my definition of success is no matter what goal that you're trying to accomplish, that you're willing to give it anything and everything that you got. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, and I would say that's like a narrative of a lot of people. They look at success as money, which, yeah, money's great. Yeah, having a lot of money is awesome. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I'm just thinking about this too, because it's kind of with what you said. One of Kobe Bryant's biggest things is he says success is not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like, even where we're at now, like in perspective to everybody else, like we're very very blessed for where we're at. And we almost feel like, sometimes we feel like we made it, but sometimes we feel like it's day one still. But this is all part of the journey. But the journey was really, really hard at the beginning in this industry. And I always look back to knocking, and I look back to closing, I look back to market on, and I'm like, I'm so thankful that I went through all those struggles. And the reality is, like, whenever we get to where we're going, for me, that stress-free lifestyle, we'll look back and say that the success was all the sacrifices we had along the way.
Yeah.
So that is... Yeah, success is what you put into it.
Yeah. To bounce off what you said, as far as like sometimes we feel like we made it, and sometimes we're like, yeah, it's day one. Like we're just the beginning. And in reality, we are in just the beginning.
Yeah, 3 years. Most people work 20, 40 years.
Yeah,
in the company,
exactly. So A.J. Brown, right, a wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't remember the exact word verbatim what he said, but somebody asked him when they won the Super Bowl, how does it feel? And he said, it don't feel like I thought it would.
Yeah.
He said, and exactly what you're talking about, like Kobe said. He's like, I just can't wait to get back to work, right? The grind is what makes it all worth it, not the destination, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, so in my opinion, success, man, there is no destination. You know, what is the definition of success? Because that's why I love the topic, is just because everybody's definition of success is different. And it's just what makes it great, because in my opinion, money doesn't make somebody successful. Being successful is being so committed to what you're going to do that nothing will stop you. You know, if you want to be the number one pound for pound UFC fighter, are you going to be willing to put in the grind that's got to get you there? That's what's going to get you successful in that industry, or that goal that you're doing.
Or even building a business and
building
stuff
a business.
like that. You know, it's committing and, you know, not making excuses. You know, like the level of sacrifice, even though we don't own Performance Windows, we've put in a level of sacrifice into the company to help it expand and help it grow. We've treated it like owners, you know.
Yeah,
but that's like the success that we've seen. But I agree with you. Success is not like one day, boom, I achieved success.
Yeah.
No, I feel like we're always in a successful state, and like when we're accomplishing our goals every day, like life is successful. You know, like in our days today, right now, I would say we're very successful. You know, but if we stop doing the things that we're doing, people would probably be like, oh, well, they're just normal people again.
Yep.
You know, but I feel like it's kind of like a state of mind and how long that you can make it last. You know, people can look at Grant Cardone and say he's been successful for so long. You know, but if he stopped doing everything he did and just gave up on it all, you know, he would just go back to being a normal person.
Yep.
So it's almost like a state of mind of just every day accomplishing all the goals that you have in front of you. And then by consistently doing that, then the results are just coming to follow.
All right. So what separates somebody from not being successful and somebody that is successful?
I think it's almost part of it's hard to word it, but I would say that successful people can deal with rejection and deal with failure without quitting. You know, like I would say successful people, even if you go out there, it's just we're so set on the results that whatever speed bumps we have along the way, they're just speed bumps. They don't ever stop us. It just slows us down. You know, so an unsuccessful person will come to a speed bump, any type of issue, and they're gonna stop at the speed bump. And they're going to overthink the problem and then possibly think about turning around rather than just gassing it and getting over the hill. So I would say that that's the biggest difference is persistence towards a goal, and then, just willingness to keep on going forward.
You know, and it goes off of that, the willingness to keep going forward, right? Because you also hear people talk about you never fail if you never quit, right? But just like me and you were saying, right, accepting your failures.
Yep.
Well, if you look at those two different things, they don't really go eye to eye, right? Because you never quit, or you never fail if you never quit. But until you accept your failures, then you can never grow past them.
Yeah, it's perspective on what is failure in your eyes.
Yeah.
You know,
So
perspective
we've been talking about success. So what is failure?
Yeah, perspective of failure. Like a true failure is when you
don't hit your goal.
When you give up.
Give up.
You know, when you give up on the goal, that's failure. But it's kind of any issue that you have in your problem, in your journey. I keep referring it as a speed bump, but it's simply it's a bump in the road. Like it's something that's going to slow us down, because it comes back to my saying: a fast success builds your ego, and slow success builds your character. The more problems that you have to overcome, the more character that you're going to gain from that. The more knowledge that you're going to gain, the more experience that you're going to gain from having those problems or those speed bumps in your life. But yeah, failure is just whenever you throw in the towel and you say, all right, I'm going to change my whole narrative. You know, like I'm going in door-to-door sales. I'm throwing in the towel, and now I'm going to go work in life insurance.
Me personally, I think that failure is. That's tough, man. I think that because you can fail to hit a goal, but you can still not be a failure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So failing to hit a goal is legit.
It's kind of like even goals for offices. You know, your office is $1 million in revenue. If you hit 800,000,
you failed at your goal.
You failed your goal, but you did not fail as a business.
Yeah.
You know that you learn from that failure, from not achieving your goal, and you make adjustments next month to hit that number that you put out there. So, but if you didn't make the adjustments, then therefore you're basically throwing in the towel and you're giving it up. Yeah. But maybe that might be it. Maybe it's accepting failure is coming up with a plan to overcome it and never fail again.
Yeah.
You know, that might be another idea. I don't know. Failure truly is
having a conversation about failure and success. Failure and success is very vague in different perspectives, like we were saying. So, heck yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you got a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, you can really go a rabbit hole in one of those conversations for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, heck yeah. We got a couple more people coming on the podcast, so y'all stay tuned. Also, do we have any big things going on? Let's see here. Oh, Dawson Gracie's going to the Bahamas, I think, October.
Bahamas or Hawaii? Wasn't it Hawaii?
Is Bahamas in Hawaii?
No.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Hawaii? Yeah. So Dawson Gray's going to Hawaii. That's exciting. We got a bunch of new merchandise out.
Oh, yeah, more stuff on the Shopify. We'll probably end up doing a big giveaway, too, probably Q3 or Q4 of the year.
Yeah, Q3, Q4. Maybe give somebody a great Christmas present.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good Christmas present. So, well, cool deal. Well, y'all stay tuned. We got a bunch more podcasts dropping. Drop your comments below. Let us know your thoughts. And then also, if you're interested in coming on the pod, make sure you DM the page. Jack will make sure to get back with you and relay the message. We're looking for people to come on the pod, share your success stories, kind of talk about, where you came from and how you got to where you're at. So we appreciate all the support. We love each and every one of you, and we'll see you soon. Peace.